JavaScript evaluation. In this video, I'll explain the basics of how JavaScript performs evaluation. Let's start right away. Remember the 2 plus 2 example? JS evaluated it to the number 4. How else could I write this? Perhaps I could write it as 2 plus 2 plus 0. What if I replace this 2 plus 2 with a 4 right away? This means that it's as if I wrote 4 plus 0. And this is still a 4. I know that this might feel like I'm running around in circles, but there is a point that I'm making here. The point is the following. When I type 2 plus 2 plus 0, JavaScript evaluates this mathematical operation and returns the simplest possible representation of the result. It doesn't matter if I write 1 plus 1 plus 2, or 2 plus 1 plus 1, or 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. JS always returns a 4 because that is the simplest way of writing this result. So that's why if I type a 4, it gets evaluated to a 4. And that's why if I type a 5, it gets evaluated to a 5. So it might seem like JS is parroting my inputs, but actually it's just returning the simplest possible way to represent this number. So, regardless of whether I type 5 plus 0 or just 5, it returns just the number 5. This is essentially what evaluation is. JavaScript tries to evaluate whatever I give it and returns it as simple as possible. Okay, so here's an interesting comparison. If I type 2 plus 2 without any quotes around it, it will evaluate to 4. However, if I type a double quote, then 2 plus 2, then another double quote, and finally I press the Enter key, which is a signal for JS to start the evaluation, what will it return? It will return the exact same thing, 2 plus 2 surrounded in double quotes. So what can be concluded from this? The conclusion here is a rule of JavaScript evaluation, which I can describe as follows. If JavaScript sees numbers and some mathematical characters without quotes, it will calculate those numbers as described by those characters. So if it has numbers and a plus character in between, the JS robot knows to evaluate those numbers by adding them together. However, if I surround the very same thing in quotes, I'm effectively saying to JavaScript to ignore the rules of mathematics. Well, if JavaScript is now ignoring the rules of mathematics, it needs to follow some other rules. What rules are those? To understand those other rules, let me try something that might look a bit weird. I'll put a name in double quotes, say Ben. Then I'll add a space, a plus sign, another space, and again add a double quote, the last name of Franklin, then another double quote. So I'm effectively adding two words, Ben and Franklin. What will this evaluate to? Actually, it will evaluate to Ben Franklin altogether without a space in between. I can, so to say, force JavaScript to add a space by typing double quote Ben, double quote space, plus space, double quote Franklin, double quote. Now, when I press the Enter key, JavaScript evaluates what I wrote as Ben Franklin, this time with a space between the two. Now, consider the following. Just like I kept getting back a 4 from JavaScript, regardless of how I wrote the mathematical expression, I can keep getting back the same words using different combinations of letters and words. So if I type B plus E plus N, it will return as Ben. If I type BE plus N, it will still return as Ben. The behavior of the plus sign depends on whether I'm using it with numbers or with words surrounded in double quotes. When used with numbers, JS evaluates it as a number, written in as simple a format as possible. When used with words in double quotes, JS evaluates it by simply joining whatever's on the left side of the plus sign with whatever's on the right side of the plus sign. This means that the behavior of this plus sign depends on what is placed to the left of the plus sign and to the right of the plus sign. Here is the most important takeaway from this video. These things that I put to the left and right of the plus sign are referred to as values. We say that JavaScript evaluates those values and returns the result of that evaluation. In JavaScript, if I just type a number without surrounding it in single quotes or in double quotes, this is referred to as the number data type. However, if I enclose this same number in double quotes or in single quotes, this is referred to as the string data type. In conclusion, when using the plus sign in JS, this plus sign will behave differently based on two things. 1. What value I give it, and 2. What is the data type of this value. To reiterate, if I write, for example, 5 plus 5, that means that I'm giving JavaScript two values of the number data type, and since they do not have quotes around them, JS will evaluate them as the number 10, or to be more precise, as the value 10 of the number data type. However, if I write, for example, the number 5 enclosed in double quotes plus another number 5 enclosed in double quotes, the result of that will be the string data type with the value of 5, 5 together. So, that's it for this video. In this video, I've explained to you how JS evaluates things differently based on whether it's working with the number data type or the string data type. In the next video, I'll introduce you to the concept of operators in JavaScript. Don't worry if it sounds unfamiliar. You've actually already been working with operators in JavaScript.